This week is a new week upon us. And you know my rule. I like to go mid-tier. And there's a couple of good guys in this little range right here. I was actually thinking Sam Howell possibly right there at 5.9 against the Seahawks. Derek Carr is always kind of like your safety blanket in that range because he's going to give you at least 15 points. Seems like every single week. Gino Purdy's in a good spot. But I went Will Levis, bro.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, I went Will Levis at 5.3. Saves you a lot of salary relief. And going against a beat up, like we stated earlier in the show, the Bucks are dealing with a lot of secondary injuries right now. So if those guys like Jameel Dean or Carlton Davis miss, this could be a really, really good play. Will Levis at 5.3. I know that 9-point game log doesn't look hot, but he was going against the Steelers, and Mike Tomlin always has those guys going. And right now, the Bucks secondary has been putrid this season. So I like Will Levis right there at 5.3.
I mean, yeah, I love that play because you don't ever want to play people like, to me, I'm sorry, but Derek Carr, you highlighted him. I would never select Derek Carr how often has Derek Carr finished as a top quarterback? Fucking
Never.
basically never. So, I mean, if the ceiling isn't basically QB 1, 2, or 3, why would I bother? I mean, at least Will Levis has that in his range of outcomes because he already showed us he scored 28 or something his first week.
It was 23.
Well, it was
26. 26. So
that's
yeah.
good. I mean, that's healthy.
Yeah.
Like that's a good ceiling. Like, so that means he can flirt with 30 even,
Mm-hmm.
because he does have legs too. Like Will Levis can run. He can rush for touchdowns. So yeah, I love that play. And did I take him too, or did I take Kyler Murray?
Let me check real quick.
I can't remember. I remember I wasn't in love with my ones I sent you, but
Kyler.
I put Kyler.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, again, so he's averaged I think like 20 points or so, or right above 20 points a game for his like career as a fantasy quarterback.
Yeah.
And I'll take a guy who has a lot of juice and momentum and fresh legs. Like I know he's coming off the ACL tear, but he's a healthy dude. You know what I mean? Like he's not going to be like he's useless. Like people think he's not going to run at all.
Mm-hmm.
I highly doubt that. I bet you anything Kyler runs because that's what Kyler does. That Kyler can't that's just his instinct. Like he's not going to be able to get rid of his instinct. His instinct will be to run when it makes sense to run. And so I think that with an extra 4 to 6 points on the ground, with potentially more, hopefully with a rushing touchdown, I like Kyler Murray this week. He was pretty cheap.
Yeah, he's really cheap. 5.9. That's super cheap for Kyler Murray.
And also, you want to know why? Because fuck Arthur Smith.
And also, he probably will be super like low owned as well because they're going to be scared to play him on his first week back. So
I ain't scared.
No, I'm saying that's a good high leverage tournament play. Like no one's going to probably have him, or maybe I'm overlooking it. Maybe everyone's like, "Damn, 5.9K for Kyler, give me that."
That's how I looked at it. I mean,
yeah. For my running backs, I went Aaron Jones at 6.5. I think if you don't give this man the ball 20 times, at least 20, right? He caught 4 catches, so 24 times last week, and we won the football game. Look at this, 7, 8, 5, 9. Give the man the ball, and the Packers have a shot to win the game, right? I think it's going to be another one of those games. He's going to touch the ball at least 20 times against a Pittsburgh team that's allowing a lot of yards on the ground this season. They're ranked 26th against the running back fantasy-wise. So, like I said, man, this guy should be the focal point of the Packers, and at 6.5K, I think he's fully healthy now. He's been last week he kind of showed us, and this week he had a full week of practice once again. So it looks like Aaron Jones is officially fully healthy. So give me him at 6.5K. And then I went up a little bit to Tony Pollard just because this should be a blowout against the Dallas Cowboys. So he should see probably 15 to 20 carries, maybe more, maybe 25. I mean, he saw that. Oh, he only had 14 carries in the first week, but he had 2 touchdowns. He was involved in the blowout. But then you saw like the Jets game, the 20. Like we haven't seen him get a lot of bulk of carries in a while. I think this week against the Giants, they probably are walking in there like this should be a cakewalk. Like let's get Pollard going. Let's give him the ball. Let's burn the clock out. Hopefully no one gets hurt You know what I'm saying? So I think Tony Pollard in the game script will help him out a lot at 7.3. And then for my flex, I went another running back. I went with Jahmyr Gibbs at 7K. I know it's a little risky because David Montgomery's back, but it's a very high point game. I want that game script with, the Lions and the Chargers slated right now, the highest over under at 48.5. So you want to get a piece of that game. And I think he's going to get more involved in the passing game. Like we might see another 9 catch game, like we did against the Ravens. So I know Montgomery's back. He's probably going to take away the goal line carries for him. But we saw what he did against the Raiders in Week 8. This guy is a playmaker. And I think finally Dan Campbell is unleashing him. So I like him at 7K. You could go ETN, though. ETN's in a good spot, but I think he has a tougher matchup. So I went with Gibbs.
Oh, I mean, I don't mind that. It's not where I went, and I love the Tony Pollard play. I wish I could put him in my lineup because, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of my lineup this week, but we'll see what happens. But Tony Pollard, man, if y'all are listening, y'all building your own lineups, like that should be like a guarantee. Like, dude, Tony, punch it in 4 times, forgot 5 times. Dude, screw it, get 6 or 7. Like, you have the ability this week to do that, Mike McCarthy. So I mean, like, just tell your defense, hey, when you pick it off, get out of bounds at the 3 so we can get Tony involved. Because that's what I mean, dude. Just give I feel like they've been giving CD some confidence games because like they were kind of ignoring him for some odd reason. But then they got him going, and now it's time to get Tony going. Like Tony, dude, if he doesn't get at least 100 yards rushing and a touchdown, what is happening? Like that should be the minimum tomorrow, or sorry, Sunday. Is 100 rushing yards and a touchdown. Like, give Tony, come on, man. Like, you have to do it this week. There's no excuses anymore. Like, if you don't do it this week, I'm just going to say that you're kind of bad this year.
Okay.
Because, I mean, what else has he done besides week 1?
Yeah, he has kind of dipped. Like,
he has very average, like extremely average.
Yeah, like after week 3, he just kind of fell off.
Yeah, dude, it's been just mediocre as hell. Like, just I mean,
well, look at the average per game. I mean, 4.4 yards per carry is not bad, but he had 3.6. He had 2 yards.
He hasn't looked explosive, and he's not making big plays like he was last year.
Who'd you go with your running backs?
Where did I go? I forget.
You went up. You paid some money. You went McCaffrey right here.
Boy. But
there's nothing really to say about this man, but go ahead.
He's kind of a cheat code. He's gonna get a touchdown. That boy gonna get in that end zone. So go ahead and give me them automatic TDs. I'm gonna ride that train as long as it'll fucking go. What do you have to? I mean, dude, give him McCaffrey. End of story.
Yeah. And then you went up again. You went Eckler.
I went big on running back this week. Apparently, then So, I mean, both my guys that I picked, they're both first round talents, and I mean, PPR. Like, I think they both can. Like, they're both their game scripts. Like, we could get in a shootout with Jacksonville, and the Chargers could get in a shootout with the Lions. So if those things kind of happen, then I think that the running backs will be involved in the passing game, at least, to some degree, to get, 50, 60, 70 yards. So I think both are good for at least 4 to 7 receptions tomorrow.
Yeah, I like your I agree with you with the catches. I think both of those guys are going to get a lot through the air. Mm-hmm. I think, dude, I might have to make a lineup with Eckler and Gibbs, like both running backs in that game, because I feel like they're both kind of like on the same game script, like a lot of screenplays probably in that game, Well,
I mean, yeah, just a lot of options are down for Herbert, so he's more likely to check it down to Eckler now.
Yeah. What's up, my guy? Jonathan's in the building. What's good? We got Spence saying tough matchup for CMC. Ooh, Spence said.
Well, yeah, but dude, it's CMC, bro.
For my receivers, I kind of went mid-tier. I went low, and you already know who I'm going with. I think he might be the most chalkiest player of the slate. It's probably going to be. I mean, honestly, why not play this guy? Oh wait, I'm going on receiver. There we go. I was like, where is he? Tyler Boyd.
I know it.
Yeah, I mean, you have to at 4.6, right?
Yeah,
that's going to be your salary relief, and no T. Higgins, possibly no Jamar Chase. Fire him up. Even if Jamar Chase plays, fire him up. Like this should be a no-brainer. It should be a free square, honestly, if you're building a lineup. Like this should be one of your just because of the value standpoint. Like I'm not saying that because he's on my fantasy team. He's gonna ball out because he's on my fantasy team, but save some salary, 4.6K for Tyler Boyd, and then you want to go back to the injury, right? There's a lot of injury news out there. Why not go back with Tank Dell and get in that game script? Once again, you got two receivers in that game. No Nico Collins, Tank Dell at 5.5K. We've seen what this kid can do. I mean, last week he balled out for 32 fantasy points, 6 catches, 114 yards, 2 touchdowns. And he's been quiet, for a little bit. But this was a remembrance game. Like, yo, Tank Dell, he can ball, man. He can make some plays now. And without Nico there, he should see a lot of looks. And then I went somewhere where I've never been this year before.
Where's that?
Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry, will be the first week I've played this guy. 5.8K because look at this game log, bro. 14. I know it's not sexy, but 14, 15, 17, 12. He's getting double digits. You want more than 12, of course, for almost 6K. But I think this matchup should be a pretty fun one to watch because Seattle has gave up a lot of yardage through the air in the season. So Sam Howell has shown us he rips that thing. Like Sam Howell is not scared to throw the football. So I like Scary Terry here. You could go Dotson as well because Dotson has been hot and he's cheaper at 5K. But I think either or, I think the receivers for the Commanders are in a good spot this week. So I went with those 3 guys.
Do I have the exact same receivers?
Do you?
Look at my
No,
what I
you
think.
don't. No, you don't. You don't have any of them. Oh, you have one. You have Boyd.
Okay, all right. Who are my other 2?
You had Hollywood.
Oh yeah, because my stack. That's right. Yeah, because I mean, when Kyler plays, he targets Marquise quite a bit. Like last year before D Hop got activated, Marquise was an animal,
Yeah.
and he'll get definitely over 8 targets this or on Sunday or this weekend, Sunday, whatever. Yeah, Marquise should do well PPR wise. He may or may not score, but I think he can definitely get in the end zone.
Hold on. Jonathan said the legend of Tank Dell. He was in here week 3 when I called the Tank Dell big game, and he was like, "Who the hell is that?" And then he balled out. He messaged me on the side. He goes, "Bro, Tank Dell is him." I was like, "I told you, bro."
Yeah, Tank
The
is nice.
legend. Yeah. And then you went with D Hop.
Hell yeah, because of what we were talking about earlier,
Yeah.
with Levis, and dude, with both, I didn't know both cornerbacks were playing. I wouldn't even have cared if both those cornerbacks were playing. I still would have done this, but the fact they're both questionable, so they're not going to be like 100% healthy, and then you got to take on DeAndre Hopkins. Like, yeah, give me that with a guy who just apparently has the longest ADOT or something like that right now for any quarterback because he's only played a few games, but he's throwing the ball deep, which is really good for fantasy. So I mean, dude, Will Levis, man, freaking chuck that damn thing, play your freaking football, and give him some damn fantasy points, bro.
Oh, yeah. And then you went with my guy, Christian Watson.
Oh, I did. That's right. I did great. So I had to go
I
cheap
don't
on him.
like this play.
Christian Watson was, I mean, to me, it was almost this guy. I know he hasn't been anything that incredibly special for fantasy wise, but this guy is good. He is an athlete, and he can give you those weeks that you're like, holy crap! Like, I'm so glad I started that dude. So hey, why not this week against a secondary that is exploitable, even though it's going to be tough on the road. I think when they do get desperate, I think the Packers will start to throw it up a little bit to him. And hey, he's that guy. He's like a Shaheed type. He can give you that 12 point or 13 point single play. So I love going for a flyer like that who's under $5,000.
And then you picked Boyd as well for your flex.
Yeah, we've talked about him.
We
That's
already
pretty.
talked about him.
But yeah, no T Higgins. Jamar Chase is banged up. So I mean, yeah, I'm going to take a guy who's at least I know he's dependable.
Yeah, I want to shot or maybe call out some names here real quick. George Pickens, 5.1K. I say that because, like we said earlier, Jair is out, so he's Deontay. He doesn't even have a picture up here. It's kind of disrespectful. but Deontay Johnson and that's so weird. I was like, what the? Oh, there he is. I was like, where? That's fucked up. Deontay Johnson and George. I know what George Pickens did last week. Everyone's going to be scared to play him, but he's better than that. Like, let's be honest here. He's better than this. And both those guys are in a really good spot, too. So if you're looking to save some money, I'd play those guys as well. Going over to tie in, I had to save a little bit of cash, spend up a little bit. So I went with Trey McBride at 3.5K. And it's because Kyler Murray's back. I mean, we've seen what McBride did against the Ravens with Josh Dobbs. I didn't play him last week because I cannot trust a guy named Clayton Tune. But Zach Ertz is still on the IR. He's still gonna get some a lot of looks. He's a safety blanket over there in Arizona. And I feel like with Kyler Murray, it's gonna be fun to see these two link up. I'm calling a touchdown for Trey McBride this week, man. At 3.5K, he's so cheap. And then you had Parham.
Yeah, I went down on Parham because I was just trying to. I mean, when you spend up for Christian McCaffrey and Austin Eckler, you got to make some tough decisions. And when you're doing tight end, in my opinion, staying super cheap is totally okay because you're just hoping for a touchdown no matter what tight end you take. That's not Kelsey or Andrews or whatever the top five. So Parham, he is a red zone threat. They're lacking weapons over there in LA. And Parham, if he's in the red zone, he had a week already where he caught 2 touchdowns. I think that could happen again. If they get in a shootout, that could definitely happen again.
Yeah. I do like I was looking at somebody. Your boy Ferguson's in a good spot if you want to spin up a little bit more. He's a baller. I like Sam Laporta. I know he's like 5.7K, but I feel like he's in a really good matchup here with the Chargers. But I can't. It's so scary to pay up for tight end. Speaking of paying up for defense, I went all the way up, bro. I'll play the Cowboys at 4.4. I mean, I hate doing it, bro. Every time I do it, I get messed over. But how can you not play this defense against this Tommy DeVito-led Giants team? Like, Saquon should see about 40 carries this game. I honestly, until he gets hurt, because he's going to get hurt one time in this game. Saquon will leave the game for about a series or so, dealing with a messed up calf or something. He's always hurt. But Cowboys 4.4. I know it's scary, but I'm telling you, you saw what they did week 1. They put 37 up. And if they do that, or they put 27 up, you don't want to miss out on that. So give me the Cowboys up there at 4.4. You went cheap to the Cardinals.
Yeah, because again, I really just want to put emphasis on this. Fuck Arthur Smith. I really hate that man.
I know,
but no, I think the Cardinals will play inspired this week. I couldn't afford the Cowboys defense because again, just poor budgeting. All right, just I got 2 of the big guys, and that was it for my team. But yeah, so I went with the Cardinals because I think other than the Cowboys, these guys can actually do something this week. Because Heineke is not someone who's gonna be perfect or flawless as a quarterback. And so he can make a mistake that leads to points, and I'll take that chance with a home team who's like playing inspired at least this week. Let me get the Cardinals, but man, the Cowboys, like, that should be the lock. Like, that defense, that should give you 20, like 5+ points.